Hi, everybody, and happy Friday. So it looks like we made it at least through a Monday through Friday of this new reality of teaching everything online, going to your classes online, doing your work from home. And so, yay. I hope you're all healthy and safe wherever you are. I hope you're all sort of sheltering in place and social distancing and doing all of those great things. And one of the things the team and I thought would be helpful as we continue on with the semester is we'll be putting out sort of this weekly video with updates and information. Obviously, we'll still send you key information through email, and thank you for reading all of our emails. I know we've been giving you a lot. I've tried to sort of break it up and just get you things as we have them, but I appreciate you sort of bearing with us and following along with what we've provided. So let's see. One thing is, those of you who are looking at me might be like, I've never seen Jen in glasses. So one of the things that has happened since we went on spring break and are in shelter in place is I turned 40 and I finally admitted to myself that I can't see my phone very well without squinting, and computer screens were really bothering me. So I broke down and bought reading glasses. And now that I have them, I love them, and I don't know why I waited so long. And so I'm just fully embracing middle aged. So let's take a look. I put together a few slides if I can change. There we go. And so we can see, let's try this. What's going on here? Sorry. Okay, perfect. Okay, so kind of remote learning week 1 wrap up. Again, it sounds like everybody got things. I know there a few people had some hiccups with Circuit. You should have gotten an email today that there was a glitch with the Word documents that they have since fixed. And so thank you for being flexible and getting all of that worked out. Also, thank you. I know you guys have been really communicating with your students because the assistant directors see the messages that you're sending to students. So we really appreciate that. And also, too, just thanks for reaching out with questions and letting us help you and make sure your students are getting a good experience. So looking ahead to next week, if you're following the schedule that we put out for you, the two sort of learning topics that week are persuasive theories and persuasive speech structure. So really, really covering chapters 10 and 11. There is, I think, just a quiz on 11. And then your persuasive topics are due. I have put a persuasive speech structure and persuasive theory activity into the COVID-19 folder on the open page. So you can go in and grab those and post those for your students. And then I highly encourage you to sort of do some sort of slideshow type thing and go over it. There's a lot of material that we're covering. And so, obviously figuring out what's most important and really thinking about what's going to be most useful to your students as they move forward. And then they'll be submitting their persuasive topics. Also, one thing as I was looking at the schedule, I realized I think we had the asynchronous presentation on that due at the end of the week, but then we were also doing the peer review. So I'm assuming many of you changed that. But if not, just make sure you have a clear date for your students of when they need to submit that asynchronous presentation. And then again, just continue as usual in the way you're sort of running things online. Okay, so just kind of some general issues I want to talk about, and some of these you might have already thought about or have questions about. So one thing that I think is really important, and maybe you've experienced this, is you are putting all of these things online and you're emailing your students, and you probably have had students who have been posting things, submitting things, asking questions, but you might have students that you just have not heard from yet. And if things aren't due until Sunday or whatever time you set, you might not hear from them. But I think just a really important thing we can do right now is on Sunday evening, if you have not had any contact with a student and either they've submitted something, they've emailed you, you also in Blackboard, and I'll show you in 1 second, you can go in and check the last time that person has logged in to Blackboard. So actually, I'm going to bring that up really quickly. if I go into here, let me get out of here and I'll just go into an old class so that you can see this. So for example, if you go in and see that a student has not submitted, like has not even logged into Blackboard, what would like you to do is to please, I'll just go into here. I don't even know what class this is. Send them an email and just sort of say, hey, I've noticed that you haven't checked into class. I just wanted to make sure that you're okay. Do you have any access issues? Is there anything I can do to help you? You know, and there might be a multitude of reasons, but I just think this is a really good way that we can show our students that we care and check on them. And then ask your students to reply to you within a given time frame, say maybe 24, 48 hours. And then if you still have not heard back, go ahead and file, actually at this point, email me directly and give me names of students that you've not heard from. And then I will kind of check in with Dean of Students and see how they want us to handle that. But if you go into your grade center on Blackboard and you go into full grade center, and just ignore these names, these are students from old semester, you will see right after their names, it has their last access. And it has the date and time. So you'll be able to see if your students have at least checked in. And if maybe they checked in like on Sunday and then by Sunday have done nothing, again, really good time to check in with them, make sure they understand the updated attendance policy, etc. Okay. So another thing, an email went out to all undergraduate students. I'm assuming that that email may have gone out to all of you too. I'm not sure. I feel like, again, the university is trying to communicate a lot, but an email went out to all students telling them that they are currently have the option to take any class that they are enrolled in, pass, fail, and they have until May 1st to make the decision if they want a pass, fail. And this is really to help students who transferring to this online learning and the chaos in their life has made it really, really difficult. So students have that information. And then if a student chooses to take a class, pass, fail, there's an automated system that will go through that I believe that you and as the instructor have to okay. And we will okay any of those requests. Now, with that being said, if you get a request from a student for pass, fail, or a student approaches you about that, please, please, please ask them if they have spoken with their advisor. And so communication went out to students that it would still count for graduation. So they've loosened a lot of the rules, but advisors are going to know best if this is a good option for a student. So please ask them to work with their advisors to make these decisions. Obviously, there may be not unintended, but there could be impacts on our class. For example, you may have, if you have a lot of students who determine they want to do pass fail, and according to the university, the pass would be a C- or above. So basically, and forgive me because I don't have the exact point in my mind, but anything basically, and we don't do C-. So the number of points that students would need to earn a C, once they earn that total number of points, they could choose not to do anything else for the rest of the class, which I think brings up concerns about the group project. And let's say a student decides to do it pass fail and determines, well, I'm not going to work on the group project. Again, I think in the case that those arise, we will address those on a case-by-case basis. One thing that I would recommend is wait for students to come to you to ask about this. Please do not make an announcement like, hey guys, just want to remind you, you can do this pass fail. Obviously, I think it just makes our lives a lot easier if students continue to take the course, and many of your students may want to because most of our students end up getting A's and B's. So I just want you to be aware of that. And if you do get a request before you sign off on anything, please, please, please ask your student if they've worked with their advisor. Student emails, I've had a couple of questions. If you personally can give like another student's email to another student. And yes, you can. That is considered directory information under FERPA, so you're not violating anything. Students can go online to the Purdue directory and look those up. Another thing that has arisen and a question is what happens if you have a student email you who has tested positive for coronavirus, feels like they have coronavirus, is very ill. How do we handle that? Again, the name of the game here is flexibility, and we're just living in a different time. So the number one thing is loosen up all deadlines. So if you have a student who contacts you, says, hey, I think I have coronavirus, I feel terrible, say, okay, take care of yourself, and whenever you can get your work done, you can get it done. We are not requiring students to go through ODOS or provide doctor's notes for not being able to complete work in class. Mostly two reasons. One is the Dean of Students is incredibly busy right now. And the other thing is, I do not want students going to get documentation if they do not need to be at a doctor's office, right? So I would rather, and I think this is just a time we're going to have to trust and be flexible. And sure, there might be students who abuse that, but at this point in time, we're not going to try to sort of determine what's going on. And again, this would be if you have a student that basically, because of a coronavirus situation, for whatever reason, cannot complete the course, at that point, we will look at individual cases and think about things like incomplete, or maybe we could say to a student, hey, do a pass fail. But again, let students approach you. But again, be flexible, right? And we're just going to try as hard as we can to meet the needs of our students while still getting them to do the work that they need to do. Just a reminder, resources for your students. The PPC is offering virtual appointments. We're slowly getting appointments scheduled and trickled in. We had some last week. The attendance report, they went really well. Students at first were like, this is super weird, but I'm sure you all have been involved in more like conference phone meetings in this last week than you ever have in your whole life. So I think students will get used to it, and our attendants are there. Another thing that will be happening, I'm hoping to get them up by today, but if not, they'll be up by Monday. I created 2 videos for students of walking them through the process of recording a presentation, as if they're standing in front of the room, sort of like we're asking them to do for the persuasive, and how they could upload and share that. And then I also have a tutorial about doing voice over PowerPoint, or like this mode right here, and how to upload those. We are going to be posting those on the PPC website, just so students across campus and even really some instructors have access to those. But I will send those links out. Oh, and that was another thing. When we talk about students impacted directly by COVID-19, I will send out in emails kind of some basic, here's a really general response that we're just going to give to all students that contact us with concerns about their health. And so look for that. And just a reminder, moving forward, as we continue on this semester with questions and concern, the very first person you want to go to if you have a question about how to do something in your class or about a student, please go to the assistant director who is currently on your section. They will either be able to answer your question, or they will know if it's something that they might need to check with me or filter it up, and then we'll go from there. Also, if you are having technical issues with your class, we can help with a lot, like particularly Blackboard things, but you also always can go to ITAP. Their entire crew is working remotely, and they're great, and you can get them on the phone if a particular tool or something's not working. Also, just in general, and I should have said this about technical issues, again, it's time to be flexible. Purdue systems might be going down. I know Kaltura Media Space was out for an hour yesterday as I was making my video. So again, just to be flexible. And then obviously if it's a major concern, or if an assistant director is like, I'm not sure, you can always then contact me directly. I am trying to be really fast on my responses to emails and those kind of things. But and then I think that's the other thing. Please let us know what questions and concerns you have. If you need something, if you're unsure of something, that's why we're here. And feedback from you really helps us know what we should be doing. So in the end, here's another Bitmoji. And I figure you guys either enjoy my Bitmojis or you're like, man, Jen's crazy. But that's what happens when you are shut in your house for 2 weeks with for preteen teenage girls. You do start to go a little crazy. But anyways, I do want to say thank you so much for just sort of jumping in there and caring about your students and transitioning. Thank you for being patient with me and the team as we work to get things together for you. Thanks for humoring us as we just sort of get through this. This is, I'm sure you've heard this a million times. None of us have ever done this before, and we're doing the best we can. So I am really, really thankful that I work with such an incredible team of instructors. So anyways, if you have any questions, let me know. And I will, I'm sure, be emailing you or videoing you soon.